Picture this. You're at the airport, your suitcase hits the scale, and the agent says those dreaded words. That'll be $150 overweight fee. Your heart sinks as you realize you're about to pay more for your luggage than some people pay for their entire flight. But what if I told you there are perfectly legal ways that seasoned travelers use to outsmart these ridiculous weight limits? Today, I'm sharing 7 sneaky tricks that airlines definitely don't want you to know about. Before we dive in, let me be crystal clear. Everything I'm about to share is completely legal and within airline policies. These aren't scams or ways to break rules. These are strategic approaches that smart travelers have been using for years to avoid those painful excess baggage fees that can sometimes cost more than your actual ticket. The first trick is what I call the layering game, and it's probably the most obvious yet underutilized strategy out there. Instead of packing that heavy coat or multiple sweaters in your suitcase, wear them through security. I'm talking about putting on your heaviest jacket, your boots instead of sneakers, and even layering multiple shirts if necessary. You might look a bit silly walking through the airport looking like you're heading to Antarctica when you're actually going to Miami. But who cares when you're saving $100? The beauty of this approach is that once you're through security and seated on the plane, you can take everything off and be comfortable for the flight. Now here's where it gets really clever. Trick number 2 involves your carry-on strategy. Most airlines have strict weight limits for checked bags, but are much more lenient with carry-on weight, focusing mainly on size restrictions. Transfer your heaviest items to your carry-on bag. Books, electronics, shoes, and even some clothes can make the journey in your overhead compartment instead of the cargo hold. Just make sure you're still within the size limits and that you can actually lift your carry-on into the overhead bin. The third trick is something I learned from a flight attendant friend of mine, and it's called the personal item maximization. Most airlines allow you to bring both a carry-on bag and a personal item like a purse, laptop bag, or small backpack. Here's the secret. There's usually no weight limit on your personal item, only size restrictions. Pack a large but regulation-sized personal item with your heaviest small objects. Cameras, tablets, chargers, and dense items like toiletries can all go in there. Some travelers even use photographer vests with multiple pockets to essentially wear their personal items through security. Trick number 4 is all about timing and involves something called bag redistribution. If you're traveling with someone else, take advantage of weight allowances across multiple bags. Airlines typically allow each passenger a certain weight limit, but they don't care how that weight is distributed between travelers on the same reservation. If your partner's suitcase is under the limit and yours is over, simply move items between bags right there at the counter. I've seen couples save hundreds of dollars just by spending 2 minutes reorganizing their luggage at check-in. Here's where things get really interesting. Trick number 5 involves understanding airline psychology and timing your check-in strategically. Airlines are much more likely to waive small, overweight fees during busy periods when they want to keep lines moving quickly. If your bag is just a few pounds over, checking in during peak hours when there are long lines behind you might result in the agent letting it slide rather than holding up the entire queue. This doesn't work for significantly overweight bags, but for those borderline cases, timing can be everything. The 6th trick is something I call the decoy strategy, and it requires a bit of preparation but can save you serious money. Enjoying this? Tap subscribe for weekly smart travel hacks. Pack a smaller, lightweight bag inside your main suitcase. If your main bag comes in overweight, you can quickly remove items and put them in the smaller bag, which then becomes an additional checked bag. Now, you might think this would cost more since you're paying for an extra bag, but here's the math. Most airlines charge around $50 to $70 for a second checked bag, while overweight fees often start at $150 and go up from there. You're actually saving money by splitting your luggage into 2 standard weight bags instead of 1 overweight bag. The 7th and final trick is perhaps the most advanced, and it involves understanding the difference between airline policies and airport enforcement. Some airports weigh carry-on bags, others don't. If you're connecting through multiple airports, research which ones are strict about carry-on weight limits. You can sometimes get away with a heavier carry-on at your departure airport if you know your connection won't check it. This requires some research and flexibility, but experienced travelers swear by this method. Now, let me share a bonus strategy that combines several of these approaches. I call it the airport bathroom switcheroo. After you've checked your main bag, but before you go through security, step into an airport bathroom and transfer items from your checked bag receipt area to your carry-on or personal items. This only works if you have access to your checked bag after weighing, which some airlines allow, but it's a last resort option that can save you from hefty fees. Here's something crucial that most travelers don't realize. Airline weight limits aren't just about making money, though that's definitely part of it. They're also about aircraft safety and fuel efficiency calculations. However, the enforcement of these limits can be inconsistent, and understanding this inconsistency is key to working within the system effectively. One important consideration is that different airlines have vastly different policies. Budget airlines tend to be extremely strict about weight limits because baggage fees are a significant part of their revenue model. Full-service carriers often have more flexibility, especially for their frequent flyers or premium class passengers. If you're a loyalty program member, don't hesitate to mention it when dealing with overweight baggage situations. The psychology of airline employees also plays a role in how these situations unfold. Gate agents and check-in staff deal with frustrated passengers all day, every day. Being polite, understanding, and treating them with respect can sometimes result in fees being waived or reduced. This isn't manipulation. It's just human nature that people are more willing to help those who treat them well. Before you try any of these strategies, always check your specific airline's current policies. Airlines frequently update their baggage rules, weight limits, and fee structures. What worked last year might not work today, and what works for one airline definitely won't work for all airlines. Remember, these tricks work best when used ethically and respectfully. The goal isn't to break rules or take advantage of airline employees. It's to work smartly within existing systems to avoid unnecessary fees. Airlines make billions of dollars annually from baggage fees alone, so using legal strategies to minimize these costs is just good financial sense. So there you have it, 7 sneaky but completely legal ways to outsmart airline weight limits. Have you tried any of these strategies before? Drop a comment below and let me know which trick you're most excited to try on your next trip. And if you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe because I've got plenty more travel hacks coming your way. Until next time, travel smart and keep those wallets happy.
Adekku bagus ini kak, cinta sama